from my observation, I think that one of the reasons why so many Christians struggle in marriage is because we forget that we should trust God at all times.
Yeah, so true. Hi everyone.
Hi guys.
This is Omami here and Israel, my lovely husband. If you're new here,
welcome to our channel.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. Do you remember? You're welcome. Okay, if you're new here, thank you for stopping by, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming again. We love you guys. God bless you. So today we'll be sharing with you the lessons that we have learned from being married. Last year we talked about the changes we experienced after marriage. We have so many updates from that. We've learned a lot of new things, like updated knowledge, and I think that's the beauty of marriage. How that you get better and better, as you're willing to keep learning. So we thank God. That was say God.
Yeah, we thank God first.
Thank God. No, I said God.
Oh, okay.
So we thank God.
We've been trying,
We thank God.
Please bear with us. If she says it again, just so you understand.
I never do it when I'm serious. It's only when I'm
just checking anyway.
So the lessons we have learned, I think we should just start straight because we have our daughter here and we're working with time because she can just start crying. So the first lesson we've learned is
trust in God. Trust in God on
I said it.
Trust in God on every journey. Yes, marriage is a journey on its own.
Absolutely.
Filled with lots of good things, lots of smoothness, but also with some
ups
challenges, ups and downs. And what is very important at this time, at every point in time in marriage, is to trust God.
Absolutely.
Okay,
so I feel like on the era of trusting God, we don't have like a structured plan for this, so we're just going to be sharing testimonies. On the era of trusting God, we've had so many times when we're faced with challenges, and I don't mean like between ourselves, like arguments. Sometimes we do have differences, but I'm talking about external challenges, and I vividly remember so many, like we have so many times where God has come through for us by reason of just trusting Him. And the first testimony that I have, can I share testimonies? First of all, I want to thank God for the salvation of my soul.
Are you gonna sing?
He has done. Okay, first of all, I want to thank God for the salvation of my soul, and I really mean that. But the other testimonies that I have, first, this is another testimony. But the other testimony that I have is last 2 weeks we went for an inspection, and after the inspection we came back with like almost $900 bill. And I like how both of us were not even faced by it. Like we were not worried. We're not like, where are we going to get money from? We're doing nothing. We're just like, we just held the paper, we just came back. And so in the car we just prayed about it, that God would provide. We just prayed that God should provide, and we just left it alone. And later we just called a friend who was involved in that, and then he just advised, and he just said, you guys can do this through this and that, and he just provided another way, and we spent less than 20% of that bill. And it wasn't even a struggle. And so it was, looking back, it's just interesting how that through our track record with God, we're able to not get worried about things, especially when it comes to money. And I feel like that should be like an advice for you guys too. If you're young and you're planning to, even if you're old and you're planning to settle down, don't be worried about all these earthly things. God will provide. Don't be worried about earthly things. Be more concerned about the joy in your home, doing the important things. Be more concerned about winning souls, the fruit of the Spirit, about studying your word, about being fervent in your faith. Be more concerned about all those things, because God has got you covered. The Bible is not lying when it says that He clothes the lilies, He does all these things. So take the word of God for what it is, really. That's what we've been trying to do, and that's one lesson we have learned in our home. Do you want to share the story of when we were laughing about not having a car?
So we had we had this video recording.
Yes.
And we shared that we didn't have a car.
Yeah.
We're actually believing God for one at a time.
Yeah.
And few weeks later, God provided one.
Miraculously. Like we not even planned that we're going to get a car in. So this is what we're talking about. 1 second, I'll be back.
So God miraculously provided one.
Yeah. So we have so many testimonies. Like we can literally convert this lesson video to testimony videos.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we've learned about trusting God. Even in your spiritual life, there are times when we feel like, God, we are behind, please help us. And I've seen how we've become more consistent.
Yeah.
Praying, having vigils, doing things. And it's not like, if there's anything that you should get from here, it's not that we are trying to blow any trumpets. In fact, we are still trusting God for more, to love him more, to really be sold out to him, because we don't feel like we are doing enough. So there's nothing to boast about except that God's grace is really sufficient for us and that God is good. And to encourage you as well, that don't be faced by financial issues. Don't let finances delay you. Don't let earthly things pull you back from enjoying the fullness of life, from having a beautiful marriage, from having a beautiful life, from winning souls, from encouraging people. Don't just let all these things delay you.
And I think that another part of trusting God, for me personally, one thing that has helped me on this journey is the fact that even when it comes to wisdom, trusting God for wisdom on how you can handle issues. So I, for one, I'm big on wisdom. I'm big on, having the right response for situations. And God shows up. God shows up even in the tiniest time, like even in the littlest of issues. So we're not saying that, trust God when you need to build to build a house or to get a car. Even in your day-to-day conversations,
trust God. Just live a life of trusting God. Absolutely. That's one lesson we've learned, and it's just a beautiful journey. I think marriage is very beautiful. Then when you now top it up with the Holy Spirit, with God, like it's just a perfect journey, because there's nothing that comes your way that God will not help you with. It may not be how you intend that God will help you, but God will come through.
And this is a very common thing among marriage that I have observed. The fact that when we get married, we think that we have the best of wisdom, we have the best of knowledge, we are super ready for it. I can make the decision, but God wants us in that moment.
Marriage
is about total submission, total vulnerability to God. Yes, when you're vulnerable to God first, it gives you the wisdom, it gives you the resources you need per time. In fact, I'm not going to generalize it, but from my observation, I think that one of the reasons why so many people struggle in marriage, so many Christians struggle in marriage, is because we forget that we should trust God at all times.
So true. That's why some people get worried. That's why some people are tired. There's a Bible verse like that. That's why you're weak.
So that is how we're supposed to live as Christians, as in a Christian marriage.
You spent like 10 minutes talking about trusting God, because it cannot be overemphasized. Cannot be overemphasized. I think this is what flows into all the lessons we've learned, actually. For example, financial issues, we've learned to not be worried about it. I think we've done it very fast to that point. Because everything is also trusting God.
The thing is that's actually the source of everything. When you trust in God, you are able to understand that when things don't go well, everything will be fine. You have contentment. You are not competing with anybody. You're just focused on your God. The Bible says that the eyes should be single. Like your focus, your strength is on God.
That's true. So from trusting God, we've learned to, through His Word, choose ourselves first. And by choosing ourselves first, I mean that whenever we are faced with decision, we try to see if both persons are fine, if the child is fine, if everybody is fine. If the decision is not going to affect us negatively, then we go with it. Otherwise, it's not something to go for. Or if it's against our family principles, values and kingdom values, we don't go for it. Especially when it comes to earthly things or different things. I think there are many examples to share. I don't know if anyone comes to your mind readily.
None for now.
Okay. Yeah. So I think one that I would think of now is like visa processing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you want to share that?
Yeah, so while we're trying to move and we're processing our visa, one of the most popular advice I got was, it's best you come alone without your spouse, because it would increase the chance of you coming. And at that point in time I was like, okay, like I understand their perspective, but then how does it work in my own family dynamics? How does it work with God? What is God saying about this situation? And we came up with the mindset, we've always had the mindset, even before we got married, that once we're married, we can never be separated for an extended period of time. So, those things guided our decisions.
Yeah, we're willing to fail together. So if we go for it together and then they say no, that's part of family life.
Family life,
Yes, this is not to make mockery of people who made other decisions. We're talking about what we have learned in our own marriage. Yes. So whatever decision, we always do it together. Not that one person goes for the fear of failure. So we don't allow the fear of failure stop us from doing stuff.
And for context, when people advise us on matters that like this, we first acknowledge their wisdom.
Because they are well-meaning.
Yes. But then the first thing we do is go back to God. Okay, God, are you asking us to do this thing? Okay, how does it relate to our family values? And how does it, what's the present and future implication of this decision? So we don't just make decisions based on, this is what is in vogue, we do it. No. Even if that is in vogue, we still, there are due processes, due diligence.
That's true.
I was telling someone yesterday, I said one of the reasons why I try my best to think it thoroughly before making any decision in marriage is the fact that when you make a decision as a man, it doesn't just affect you, it affects your family. It affects your family, and in fact it could affect your future generation. You understand? So you don't just make decision based on, this is what is in vogue. It's only God that can see ahead, 50 years ahead. So if you are making a decision, you're not taking God or carrying God along, you're just probably
so 2 things have come to my head now as a lesson. Number 1 is counseling. Like, don't underestimate the power of counseling. And the second thing is that nobody is perfect. Like, we always have something to improve on in marriage. Even if you're not married, you always have something to improve on. So it's important to give grace to the next person, to understand that this person is probably not even thinking of it that way. I was talking about the power of perspective. It's not this morning where you're talking about how the time zone share. So everything is sometimes perspective. Nobody is perfect. You have things to improve on. Are there times when you don't give enough grace? Absolutely. But consciously have it in your subconscious that you will need to give grace to the next person.
And I think one of the things we have fast learned in our marriage is the fact that there's only someone that can give us an advice that we'll not be scared of, and that is God. I tell you, like, if someone comes to me and say, Israel, okay, if you do it this way, it's going to result to this way. Yes, I would. But if God says, Israel, I want you to do it this way, or I want your family, that is the only way I will never be scared. And I hate to be scared. I hate to,
feel pressure
to do so. I hate to think of, what if this thing doesn't work? So that's the kind of person I am, and I think by extension we are. So we just try to just leave everything to God. Like we said earlier, trust in the Lord.
Trust in the Lord. And the other one was counseling.
Yes, counseling too. I feel like you can't stop, getting into counseling. We at so many points in time we've called, our counselor and say, what do you think about this? We're experiencing this issue. How can we resolve it? So you can't actually stop learning.
You can't stop learning.
You can't stop learning.
Exactly. So you can't stop learning. That's another point. So what's the next thing?
Personally, I think another lesson I've learned is being open to, there was a time you wanted to mention something about, childbirth, like children, some people delaying conception.
Yes, we've learned that. So we actually fell into that trap.
Almost fell.
almost fail. We already did for some months. Went into that trap of, oh, when we get married, we want to wait for this, so that we can enjoy ourselves. Like, you not enjoy yourselves later. So that was giving a subtle impression that children will be burdens to your marriage, or that they will delay beauty, enjoyment, and everything, which is not true. So we sought counsel in that area. Like I said, if there's anything you've noticed in our videos, is that we always seek counsel from godly people. So we sought counsel, and then he advised us on how that whatever it is you do, back to the first point, trust God. Let the reason why you are doing stuff be that God is leading you in that area. Don't just follow the bandwagon. Don't just say because people are doing this, then you should do it. Children are beautiful, children are blessings, and so one of the purposes of marriage is to start a family, is to be fruitful. So if you are going to delay one of the purposes of marriage, you better have a very good reason
God
for
has
doing
to
it.
actually
And that has to be God.
That.
It has to be God. So don't make decisions out of fear, especially when it comes to conception. If you're getting married, have it in mind that you are starting a family. If the reason why you're going to delay it is for earthly things, then you are being afraid.
Or maybe you should seek God for that.
You need to seek God. You need to seek God in the area of that fear.
Yes.
It is financial fear. You feel like you can't afford having a child right now because you have just 20 naira in your account. Do you think is that if you have 5 million, that can take care of you?
Take care of a child? It is God actually.
It is God.
That gives.
Yes. What if there's a health condition that is so expensive? So just trust God. Basically, if you're just getting married, have it in mind that your child is coming next month.
Bible says that children are blessings from
God.
Lord.
The fruit of the womb is a reward.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
So sometimes. It's perspective. But the best place to actually get a mind shift is in the Word.
Absolutely.
You just came when you were sharing it. Maybe this is even for someone that is watching.
Yes, sure.
When you're sharing it, and you're saying, "Oh, like children are blessing. They can never be a burden."
And the best time to have them is now.
Now the thing is, one thing about having a child is you can by your own self create it. Yes, scientists have brought the concept of you can do this and that to create a child and all of those, but a child will never come down except the permission of God. Yes, and for God to have done it, it means that He has created the provision for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you are probably if you're one who have health issues, you have financial concerns, the best thing to do is to seek God. God, these are things that I'm concerned about. What is your perspective in on this thing?
How do we go about it?
How do we go about it? I'm scared of
and I feel like when you do that,
when
you do that, the Lord is going to flood your heart with peace. That was the mind shift where we had peace about it, we were excited about it, and so that gave us the wisdom to now even guard this blessing, because we knew it was a blessing. So we were very extra careful. We did things in the conventional way, and we still try to do things not in the conventional way. We're just doing things as God leads us to do it. So that's that on conception that we've learned. So do you want to talk about number? No, let's go to
that's a very controversial one. People have different perspectives.
Oh yeah. But what's your own perspective?
So now this is my perspective.
Oh yeah.
And this is me being honest. I feel like if you're going to talk about numbers, you should look at the capacity God has given you. When I say capacity, now I don't mean financial capacity.
Okay, what's the capacity you're talking about?
I don't mean financial capacity. I mean that the capacity to take care of one. Now, you can't have 7 and you don't...
Why is number 7?
No, okay. You can't have 5 and you are not a responsible father.
Let's stick to 7.
You can't have 5 and you're not a responsible father.
Okay.
To all of them. And our capacity increases as God gives us the grace. Our capacity
God gives us the child.
Come on. Anyway, but all I'm saying is that it's actually, because sometimes I look at our baby, and I'm like, God, hey, this baby.
Backstory: I wanted 7. He agreed to 7 because I proposed 7. But now we're just open to what God. So you pushed me to the front.
I didn't push it. I agreed,
but now we're just open to what God wants us, and we are being careful.
Yeah, and again, like I said, looking at just the one we have. I'm beginning to appreciate the fact that once you invest in one, that same investment should cut across all children.
Absolutely.
So you shouldn't just say, oh, okay, because she's the first, then I would focus on my energy and the rest of them. No. That was what I meant by capacity.
Okay, not your human.
No, not even finances. People believe that raising a child is expensive and all of those. Our parents raised us with like some of them didn't even have the knowledge that we now have. Some of them didn't even have the spiritual depth and understanding that we now have. Some of them just walked by faith.
I think this is an opportunity to just say a very big thank you to our parents. We have the most beautiful parents ever. They've been very supportive, and we really appreciate their prayers. I feel like that's been very helpful. Weekly prayers, daily prayers, as often as possible prayers. We are really grateful to them. And when we see those behaviors, when we see those actions, we are usually inspired to. True. Yes. To pay it forward.
Yes.
That's true.
All right. So what else do we have?
There are so many.
And do you want us to talk about intimacy? Yes, that's true. That was our last point in the last scene. So let this be the last point too. Okay.
On intimacy. Intimacy in marriage is so beautiful. And not just in the sex area like everybody's thinking now, but on the fact that it is so flexible, and despite the presence or absence of sex, intimacy can still be possible. And the reason why we in this stage are using the word absence is because we just had a child, and it's almost like we're starting all over again. And the process is still beautiful because we are learning of ourselves, and we are not giving up on ourselves. I like that. And I feel like this is another reason why it is wrong to watch porn, because porn is not just Christians are trying to tell you don't watch porn because it's too good for you. No, it's because
it increases your expectations.
It doesn't even increase your expectation. It moves your expectation to minus when sex moves your expectation to positive. So this is what I'm saying. Porn is going to give you this idea that this is what sex is about, but that's not what it's about. Sex is actually more beautiful than what porn provides. The process is more beautiful than what porn is providing to you. So it is fine-tuning your mind to something wrong when God has something better for you. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Do you want to share anything before I continue?
I'm actually thinking I'm actually thinking of what to share in the area of intimacy, because it's a journey. Yes, it's a journey of discovery. It's a journey of understanding. It's a journey of accommodation, love. So I feel like intimacy is one way we express our love. You can't know God.
Are you talking about sex now, or like intimacy generally?
Intimacy generally. You can't know God without being intimate with him. And that's why we have the concept of koinonia. Now, and as Christians, as couples, as married couples, it's important to understand that intimacy is a vital aspect of your marriage. It's a vital aspect of your marriage. So why we are using the word intimacy is because many people have equated intimacy to sex. Intimacy is beyond sex. It's about being with your spouse even when there is no sex. That's true. Even when there is no sex,
you're still loving them. You're still romantically involved with them.
You're still funny.
And
you're still teasing them.
There's still another. Are you excited though?
No,
there's still another knowledge that is wrong among people out, that sometimes people say that sex does not happen every day. That don't expect that sex will happen every day in marriage. Don't let people just define things for you. It can happen every day for you. I'm not saying it does for us. I'm not saying it doesn't too, because that's our private life. But I'm saying that it can happen every day. It only depends on both of you. In marriage, it is just two of you. So don't allow a third person define what happens or doesn't happen in your marriage. So be open to the idea that it can happen every day. It is fun. It is exciting. So it's you that will define what happens in your marriage. Do you get? And there will be times when it doesn't happen at all, when like I said, maybe a woman is just recovering, a woman is sick, somebody's fasting, different things. So
and I know that this is not a sex.
It's not a sex. It's a lesson we've learned.
Because I would have, if it were a sex video, we would have spoken to singles. give
Oh
us some
yeah.
advice to
Oh yeah,
singles.
this is to singles too,
Okay.
for them to expect good things in marriage.
Expect good things in marriage. Don't experiment. Expect and don't experiment.
Yeah.
Because experimenting can
It can spoil the chances of the
Yes.
success later.
Yeah.
And it can, I don't know.
I feel like it can alter. So like it just alters something. I don't know.
Okay, so let me explain something. So we didn't have sex before marriage.
Yes.
And so now that, let's say the 6 weeks after we had a baby, because you're advised not to be sexually involved in that area.
Yeah.
So let's say that before marriage we've been doing that, and then I've been trying to pacify you with sex so that you marry me, so that you not run away, and I've been doing all those things. The truth is, in that 6 week period, we can go through challenges of me doubting if you're able to wait for me, doubting if you're actually not doing something else outside, because before marriage we were already doing stuff, and so I could not see if you could wait or anything. But because we didn't have sex before marriage, I knew that you'd be there for me all through the period of no sex, and even if we continue to have challenges, I knew that you'd be there for me. And so that even increased my love for you. It increased my wanting to be back to you. Do you get? Because I knew that you were waiting for me. So imagine if before marriage you were already doing all these things. You're just, you're already affecting the success of joy, peace, patience later. So just be patient. You're going to have all the fun. It's easy to say, but rely on God. Rely on God for the patience.
And I know that we're just scratching the surface of this topic. If God gives us the grace, we'll talk about sex.
But, and if you want us to talk about it, let us know.
So one thing again we discovered is that communication is very vital in intimacy and sex. Like even in marriage. Asking questions. Oh, do you like it this way? Do you like it that way? Don't you like it this way? Because I think many people who are exposed to sex have this. No, I don't mean the bad guys. People who have read materials, novels about sex before they get married, they have this expectation or people who were exposed to porn, they have this expectation of.
It's that porn that is the issue. It moves you to a distorted mindset about it. Far from what is beautiful.
This is how my husband would do it and all those things. But sometimes it may not be so. It may not be so.
It may be better.
It may be
because
better,
because when people are advising, they're like, it may not be so in the aspect of it may not be as good as that. Do you get? So it may not be so in bad way or good way. Just be open-minded to what God is going to do in your sex life, in your marriage. Do you get?
A lot has been said.
A lot has been said, but we're very grateful for our upcoming anniversary. Now it seems like we have a third guest who is
she's now very active. So let's
we have to round up. So we hope that you guys learned from our lessons. We are very hopeful to learn more because we don't know so much. Just little like this. But we're very open to learning, and we're very grateful to every one of you who have been sending us advice and questions. And your love. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making this marriage a beautiful one.
Thank you so much also for making this marriage an awesome one. I really love you too.
Where's my gift?
Or you'll get it. You'll get it.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. No, this is a very good gift. Thank you. Okay. All right.
Alrighty.
Bye,
so we'll see you next time.
Bye everyone. And if you not watched the last year's video, go and watch it so you can see how much God has done. Alright. Ebenezer.